Hello and welcome to the CNBC TV 18 special, the Modi government's performance appraisal. I'm SHEREEN, and we're in conversation with the Coal Secretary, Mr. Anil Swarup. Mr. Swarup, appreciate you joining us here on CNBC TV 18. Well, you know, the first year, the coal sector and specifically your ministry was the best performing ministry as per a CNBC TV 18 poll, and that run continues for you. If I were to just take a look at the coal production numbers, up 8.5% in the year 2015-16 at a record 536 million tons. That's 42 million tons more than the previous year. So it's been a good year for you. How would you assess the performance?
It's been pretty satisfying, I should say. There's a lot to be done yet, but pretty satisfying.
You're now dealing with a different kind of a problem. As opposed to a shortfall, you're now dealing with a problem of surplus, and I believe that's why you were forced to curtail production in the month of April as well, and which is also why you haven't been able to meet that target that you'd earlier set out as far as 550 million tons of production was concerned.
Indeed, that was the reason. I think the offtake was not as anticipated. So we did have to cut down our production in the month of April this year. But I think it will pick up. We are all very, very hopeful that Uday will kick in. And once Uday kicks in, there will be an increase.
So when do you anticipate a recovery? When do you believe that we are going to see that offtake taking off? You talked about Uday. A lot of state governments have signed the MOUs, have come on board as part of the Uday scheme. But when do you see a meaningful revival in the power sector, which will mean a revival for you as well?
Yeah, we would believe that in the next 3-4 months it should pick up. Once the debt gets restructured, I think the DISCOMS will have a greater financial space to borrow more. And once they are able to borrow more, they will be able to buy more power. Apart from that, there are so many other aspects of Uday which are being taken care of, monitored very closely by Ministry of Power. They are engaging with the state governments. And that is that gives me hope that Uday will kick in. And once Uday kicks in a big way, we will have demand for coal. You look at it in this perspective. Right now, the PLF is around 62%. This is on account of shortage of demand of power. Once Uday kicks in, I would believe this should go up to 65, 66. And that should be good enough for us to get our coal going out.
So what is the kind of inventory that we're currently dealing with? And you expect that to continue, at least for the next couple of months, till Uday sort of starts to transform the sector in a meaningful way?
The inventory is about 50 million tons at our pit heads and about 30-odd million tons at the power plants, which is pretty high. But we worked out a strategy to liquidate that. Apart from the power sector, there's a lot of demand in the steel and the aluminium sector. So we are going ahead with a lot of coal auctions, coal linkage auction and coal auctions. E-auctions will happen. They start this month end, and they will continue over the next few months till we are able to liquidate these stocks. In the meanwhile, we would believe that, as I said, Uday will kick in and there will be a greater demand from.
But do you believe that there will be demand even from sectors like steel and aluminum, because those are sectors that have been fairly distressed as well? So do you see successful e-auctions?
My reading of the situation is that steel is picking up because of the duties that have been imposed by the government on the imported steel. It has already picked up in past couple of months, and my understanding is it will pick up further. So will the case be with aluminium and cement. Cement will pick up because of the road sector picking up. The road sector and other activities are picking up pretty fast. So we believe these sectors will also pick up, and as the economy picks up, there will be a greater demand for coal in sectors other than power. Power, of course, will be picking up over a period of time.
So do you believe you'll be able to liquidate the entire amount that you're sitting with, 50 million tons at this point in time? And also, what's the outlook as far as pricing is concerned from where you sit today?
I'm an optimist. I believe, and I believed about a year and a half ago, that we'll be able to sort out coal problems, which we probably have. And we believe that Uday will kick in and we would be able to liquidate all these stocks. As far as pricing is concerned, this is a decision that is taken by Coal India. They will factor in all the costs that they have. They will take into account the international pricing and then fix their prices.
Since we're talking about Coal India, let me ask you, I know these are of course board decisions, but let me ask you about your perspective as well on the possibility of a buyback, on the possibility of an additional stake sale by the government in Coal India. Have there been any conversations on that front? And I also understand that given Coal India's performance, you do believe that at this point perhaps investor interest would accrue.
You know, this is a decision that is taken by Ministry of Finance. We are consulted when that decision is taken. At this point in time, there is no such decision.
But has there been any fresh consultation, any fresh conversation around either a divestment or a buyback?
There's been a lot in the air. People have been talking about it, but we haven't had any formal discussion, so to say, on either buyback.
But informal conversations have happened.
There's so many informal conversations keep happening in the government. I mean, I don't have to announce that.
What is the ministry's? What is your ministry's view on both?
We are engaging with the Department of Disinvestment, and you'll get to know it very soon what the decision is.
So you're saying that there could be a decision on this front soon?
You know, such issues are always on the table. You keep discussing them. It is only when a decision gets taken that you get to know.
But do you believe?
I can't give a running commentary on what's going on.
I understand that completely, sir. But do you believe that there will be investor interest in Coal India at this point in time?
I don't really know. We have been totally focused on production. And now we are moving towards focus on quality. You know, our focus is very different. And we would believe as Coal India performs better, there would be a greater investor interest. But there's no direct approach to investors in improving their interest about Coal India. We are totally focused on improving Coal India itself.
Speaking of improving Coal India, and I know that this is something that you're grappling with, and this is perhaps part of your unfinished agenda in terms of taking forward reforms, and that is to enhance productivity and efficiency. There's been a lot of talk and a lot of opposition to the talk of outsourcing as part of Coal India on the Capex plans as well, and what that will eventually mean, the fear of job loss and job opportunities, these views firmly being expressed by the unions. Where do those conversations stand? And how do you intend to grapple with them?
Let me clarify that Capex will not lead to reduction in jobs. When we look at 1 billion ton production by 2020, there will be a lot of capital investment. And that would not necessarily mean reduction in jobs. If anything, there will be more jobs that will be created. Obviously, per unit productivity is improving. If you look at the past 2 years, production has gone up. The labor force has come down. So obviously, the productivity per labor has gone up. But in future, as we acquire more and more land, and as is the policy of Coal India, and rightly so, that for every 2 acre of land that is acquired, we give employment to a member of the family. So employment is going to increase in future as well, because we can't mine without acquiring more land, and as more land gets acquired, we'll have more people on the rolls. So I don't think increased capital investment will lead to reduction in jobs. This is a wrong impression that is being going around. And so I don't think labor unions should have any major objection to our expansion plan, or bringing in new technology, or improving the equipment. It will all lead to improved efficiency of Coal India, will help the labor as well, because it makes mining much safer, it makes mining much more efficient. So all this will help the labor process. I don't think it's anti-labor or anything of that sort.
That's the point of view of the unions, and I'm sure that you've been trying to communicate with them. Has there been any breakthrough on this one? Because even in the past, whether it's around the disinvestment time, we have seen the union go on strike for a couple of days and so on and so forth. So to get their buy-in on what you hope to do in Coal India would, I assume, be important.
No, we are in constant dialogue with them, and I don't think this issue has been raised ever. Bringing in better technology, improved technology. I don't think any of the labor unions have opposed it, at least in our discussions with them. And we've been engaging with them. I did read a couple of news items wherein someone had mentioned about it, but I don't think that is true of the labor here, because ultimately improvement in technology will not only bring in efficiency, as I said, it will make it safer for them to mine. So that, I think, is a primary objective that we have in mind.
So what kind of Capex plan can we expect as far as Coal India is concerned, not just for this financial year, but also going forward, given the kind of expansion that you have
in the next 4 or 5 years, we would be putting in more than $8 to $9 billion. It's a huge Capex investment plan that we have. You can't double your coal production without putting in money. So a lot of money is going to put in for production.
Okay. Let me ask you about some of the other priorities that you're now going to work on as far as the unfinished agenda is concerned. The one round of auctions is over and done with. Can you give us a status on where things stand as far as the mines that already have been auctioned? 13
mines have started production. We have more than 12 million tons from them. There are some mines which the courts have intervened. In one case, the decision came yesterday, so about 4 or 5 mines will be added soon. So we are hopeful that out of the 31 mines in Schedule 2 that were mining, most of the mines will start mining in the next 2 to 3 months, because the issues have been resolved and they should get moving. As far as Schedule 3 mines are concerned, they are going as per schedule. They were not mining before, so a lot of process has to be gone into. They're going through those processes. And we are hopeful that the time schedule that we kept for those mines, mining will start as and when the time frame is.
So what is the time frame that you're
for each mine it's different. They've given us a mining plan. Some will go into production in a year, some a year and a half, depending on the stage of clearances. So depending on those stage of clearances, they will start mining in the next 2 or 3 years. As I had mentioned earlier, about a year ago when we did these auctions, we are looking at around 500 million tons of production from non-Coal India. And these mines will contribute substantially to that 500 million tons by 2020.
And by the end of the current financial year, which is FY17, how much do you think will be on stream as part of that target?
We should be able to hit 40 to 50 million tons by this financial year.
Okay.
Because that will be only scheduled 2 mines this year. Next year we will start having scheduled 3 mines.
Okay. Speaking of auctions now, when can we expect the next round of auctions? Because there's been back and forth on the timeline that you're working with.
No, we are ready with it, but last auction that we did, the 4th tranche of auction, it didn't go through because there wasn't much of demand.
Yeah.
And we apprehend that there won't be much of a demand now. I mean, thanks to excellent work done by Coal India, there's so much coal around that people don't seem to be interested in coal blocks. So we'll wait for a while, we'll see how the market...
So shelve those plans at least for the near term?
At least in the next 2-3 months, we don't see any auction happening.
What about the linkage auction? Because there I understand that you're still in the process of finalizing how you want to go about that, and you were expected to come out with something by perhaps the month of June. Is that on track?
Yes, let me explain that to you. For the non-regulated sector, the cabinet has already taken a decision. The first round of auction commences in the month of June, maybe end May or early June. Dates have been finalized. So non-regulated auction will start for linkages. For regulated sector auction, the decision is still to be taken by the cabinet. We are ready with the details. Cabinet should decide in next 15-20 days or maybe a month's time. And then those auctions will also happen.
So starting June, we'll see the auction process take off as far as linkages are concerned.
As per the schedule drawn, we will be able to do that.
Well, it is time for us to take a break here on the CNBC TV 18 special. When we return, we continue our conversation with the Coal Secretary, Anil Swarup.